Good morning, everybody. We are going to get the day going today with our special Tuesday webinar, Getting Started with Top Producer X. I'm just looking at the time. It's 10 o'clock now. I see we have a couple of people here. I'll start off by introducing myself and who I am. My name is Glenn. I am part of the Resolution Tier 2 team, plus I also help out on the onboarding. So a lot of the stuff that I'm going to be going over today with my co-host Heather is going to be about what you do when you first get started with Top Producer X. So now that I've mentioned Heather, I should actually let her introduce herself. So take it away, Heather. Tell everyone who you are. And unmute yourself first before you try.
That might work, yeah. Technical difficulties already. So my name is Heather. I'm with the onboarding team. And so if you have signed up for onboarding, you would have got a one-on-one with myself or someone else on the team. So with that being said, we do offer these free live webinars. But if you want that personal one-on-one time, then you can always, you can get that package in and meet us one-on-one.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we are just going to go over the Getting Started with Top Producer X. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and we always like to mention, this session is interactive. If you have questions or things you want to know about, please reach out to the chat. Heather and I will take turns answering there and also helping people out here, just so that it's an interactive informational session. You will learn stuff and you'll get different interpretations of what's good and what things do, because I'm the old school tech that's been around for a while. And so I've been mainly done 8i and then transitioned to TPX or Top Producer X. And Heather has been a Top Producer X person the whole time. So she's a guru with this software. We bounce off of each other, we help each other. And just to make it even easier for you folks, we're going to give you the best of the best. So hopefully it's informative. Hopefully you get something out of this and learn something. And hopefully we're able to make your transition into using Top Producer X the best possible and easiest transition.
Absolutely. Take it away, Glenn.
Where do you want me to take it to?
All right, so we're getting started. So if you haven't signed into your Top Producer X yet, I'll send you the link.
Awesome. So one thing we do like to let you know, and we do try to make these fun. It is a lot of an informational download, but Heather and I like to have a little bit of fun back and forth with everybody. So feel free to jump in. We're both Canadian. So if you hear our accents, that's why. But the one difference is she's on the East Coast and I'm on the West Coast. So we have a little bit of a hockey rivalry because I'd be a Vancouver Canucks fan, I guess, and she's more than likely a Ottawa Senators fan because she's
I'm not actually. I'm a Habs fan, Montreal Canadiens.
Okay, well, she's still one of those teams in the back east and she's wrong, so it's all good. But anyways.
And I'm covered in snow. It's raining on your end. So
yeah, it is. So one of the things we have is we have a really, really dedicated support team. So if you ever need help, all you have to do is go down to the bottom right of your Top Producer screen, any of the programs we have. Plus, on our topproducer.com/campus page, which can be found through support.topproducer.com. Our help team is there Monday to Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific or 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern time. You can get instant help, and the team is the same ones that have always been there. We've had a lot of longevity on our team. People stick around for a while. So you're going to get the best information you could possibly get. Now, if you have a question that's not time critical and you're just trying to confirm something, go ahead and send an email to our team at support@topproducer.com and they'll be more than happy to answer it. The reason I say not time critical is because it can take up to 24 hours to get a response there. So with that, let's jump in and what we're going to go over today. So the key parts of the software is your first login, obviously getting in there and seeing what it looks like there. And so once you log in, we'll show you the sales pipeline basics. Then there are a few Top Producer X setup points that are pretty key to making sure everything's working. And finally, one of my favorite things, and I think Heather really likes this one too, is the follow-up coach, which helps for database cleanup and prospecting.
I'm actually going to dig into that a little bit more later because I've had It's something I just kind of brought up recently to a couple of my customers that is going to help organize a lot better. But we'll go over the follow-up coach a little bit later.
So that's just a foreshadowing of when we get to the follow-up coach, it's going to be the Heather show. So if you're new, you would have got an email from us that looks like this that says ready to get started, and we'll have your username and password. Now, keep in mind this password can be changed. So we've got a little video showing you how to get into the software for the first time. And then we're going to go over this part here, which is the contact status and contact types. So let me go over. There we go. The video didn't want to start. So you'll notice here, this is just showing you get an email from do not reply at topproducer.com, and it will have your activate your new top producer account in the subject. So it's going to have your username and your password that you can just copy and paste out of that, and it'll allow you to get into Top Producer. So once you click on Get Started, it is going to jump over to this screen. So once you're here, put in your new username and password, and then just go ahead and sign in. And if you want to change your password, forgot password there is the way to do it. So let's sign in and see what goes on here. You're going to be met with our subscriber agreement. This is the one that tells you all the legalese that every company has to put out there. This is where it also mentions the 30-day opt-out period and the 1-year subscription, so your price doesn't increase on you. Once you're ready to get in, just go ahead, read and accept, and click next. Now, this is an important spot. It's going to show you the pertinent information you need to add. Now, there's only a couple of things you have to have in here to get into it, which is mainly an email address. So we can do that. We can go through all of this once we're into the system, because you can change this at any time. I would make sure that while you're doing it, you get your location set, because if you don't have the right location, it's going to make life a little difficult. And then you'll be asked to import contacts or add a contact. We usually recommend you add a contact here so that you can put one in that is yourself with an alternate email address just for testing purposes. So let's go into Top Producer X. So this is my much abused test account, which I say much abused because I do a lot of testing and I try to break things, and I have successfully broken and got them fixed. But every now and then my account does weird things because, as I say, I've abused it. So the first and most important thing is your settings. You want to make sure. Say that again.
Be nice to it.
Yeah, don't abuse your system like I do. I'm horrible. But we want to go into settings here. Now, there's an alternate way to get into settings. If you go up to your little picture here, it's either got your photo if you've added a photo, or it's just the silhouette here. If you click on that, you can also get to settings from there. Once we're in here, so that quick little spot at the beginning where you added information, you can change that by clicking on my information here. So I don't have a headshot or a company logo, and I need to make one just for the testing and for the webinars. We need to have something pretty cool there. What do you think, Heather?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That way you can kind of see like what it looks like. Also, with that being said, if you're using Market Snapshot, the information that you put in here also gets put onto your Market Snapshot.
Absolutely. So because of that, one of the things I would highly recommend is if you're going to put an address into the system.
Don't put your personal address. Please don't.
Exactly. We don't want to have people knowing where you live. So you'll notice it is not a required field. City and state are also not, and you can actually edit that lower in the system.
Now, with that being said, sorry, Glenn, I'm going to jump in here with the address. That being said, if you do have an office that you want to bring your customers into, then I would put your office address in there.
Absolutely, 100%. So definitely use your office address, just not your personal one. Makes it easier, and safety, right? And if you ever notice me looking off to the side, I'm looking at the camera so that I can communicate with Heather without her even knowing that I'm communicating with her. Just looking. Phone numbers, these are also going to be displayable. So again, I wouldn't put home in there, but your business and your mobile phones, absolutely. You want to make sure they're there because you want your clients to know how to get a hold of you. Next thing, emails. I would definitely, you have to have your agent email in here. You want to make sure that's there so you can have everything you need. If you do have a different company email that you do get and receive information through, throw that in as well. That way customers have more than one way to get a hold of you if they need to. And we all know that our customers love to get a hold of us through as many different means as possible, which is another reason why you have social media links here. You can put up all your social medias like your Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, so they can find you. And those, I know a lot of people are doing some really cool videos for new properties. Like some are using drones to get higher level video so that you can see the tops and all the area and everything. Having a link to your YouTube, people can see there and they're going to add comments onto the video. So there you go. Another way to get a hold of you. Your websites, though, are also important. So if you have a specific website for yourself, make sure you fill that in. And then if you're part of a larger company, I'd put their website in as well, just so you can get that information out. Now, this is the one, this professional info, this is a lot of this is going to show up on your marketing. And especially as to what Heather alluded to earlier, if you have your market snapshot, you want to have this information. So your company name, obviously, Heather and I work for Top Producer Systems Incorporated. We're probably going to have to find a cool brokerage name that we got to come up with. That way it looks cool for this demo. What do you think, Heather?
Yeah, well, we're working on that.
Cool. That's something we have to do often. Anybody who comes by to a future one will see it and be, hey, cool, they came up with something.
And also another little neat trick is that when you're creating your signature, your email signature, we'll get to that after, any information you put on here, you can just kind of easily transfer. We'll show you that after as well.
Absolutely. It makes it easy so you don't have to retype things. Plus, if you do have to make any changes, you just make the changes here in the system and it goes across everything. One thing I would highly recommend, even though it's not required, is a license here, because everybody likes to know that their agent is licensed. So having your license number in there will allow for that. Now, finally, down here, you do, like I said, addresses can be put there if you don't put an address in, but you do still have to display your city and state or province if you're in Canada. You can actually take it from a different location. So I'm going to quickly scroll up and you'll see that I have my address set as Blaine, Washington, because again, I'm in the West Coast of Canada and Blaine, Washington is just down across the border from me, about 15 minutes away. So let's say I wanted to say that I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia. I can just change it here by clicking out of this box that says my display city and state / province is the same as my address above. If I really wanted to, I could go all the way and say that I'm out of Ottawa, Ontario. No idea where I came up with that place. No idea.
It's not close to my hometown.
No, not at all. And then the next thing you'd want to do is your branding. Now, we have a bunch of colors here. I do wish we had a little swatch here so you could see what the color would actually look like. But this is also going to be used for like your market snapshots. So if your company's logo is, sorry, I just got distracted by brown. I don't know. I wouldn't want to have a company logo that's brown, but let's say you had a light green company logo. You can put that on there and everything will go. Last thing, to make sure that you have your calendar set up right with the right dates, make sure your time zone is set. Now, I'm going to completely mess it up by having my location be Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, which is on the east, not west. How did I get west? Wow, that's an interesting
We're
word.
on the East Coast.
Thank you. Forgot how to speak. Instead of having, I have my city as Ottawa, but if I leave my time zone as Pacific time, I would still get everything in Pacific time. So I would confuse myself because they're 3 hours ahead of me. So make sure you have all this set and then just save my info. Now, a couple of very cool features we have in X now that if you were coming over from Top Producer 8i, you might not have seen before, and this will really help you out. email integration. How cool is this that now instead of going through our servers, it goes through your email provider server. You'll see I've got an email address of gdtesttpx@gmail.com. If I send an email out, it will actually say it's coming from that email address. It's not even going to say coming from Top Producer on behalf of. It will just send it. It will go out through your email provider. It will go to your client. You'll be able to check if they've received, read, or just left it in the inbox. You'll also, when they reply, it will come back to your main inbox and then be mirrored in Top Producer X on the contact record. So no more having to sift through all the updates on the MLS and any other updates from the office. You just need to look at your client and you'll be able to see all the emails that are associated with that.
Now, with that being said as well, just make sure that when you are sending out, know the limit of how many emails you can send out a day from your email providers. So if you're with Gmail, my understanding is that if it's a free account, you're not paying for it, it's 500 is a limit. And then if you're paying for the account, I believe it's up to 2,000 limit for the day. So it's not a limit on how many you can send out a day through Top Producer X. It's a limit based on your email provider.
Exactly. We do have to go on the limits that those providers have set. So make sure you double check with your provider as to how many emails you are able to send per day, just so you don't get yourself into their naughty books. Because
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I'm going to touch base with this a little bit more in the follow-up coach as well, about how many emails you're sending out a day and so on.
Perfect. See, again, she likes to foreshadow the cool stuff she's going to tell you. Now, one of the other things she mentioned is email signatures. So if you click on email signature over here and then click on this pen icon, you're going to first notice it has my address here and then it says has signature. That's because I've created one and I think it's, yep, still has my cool little picture there. But let's say I didn't want to have to type that in, and we might alter it based on the name. So if we put agent first name, and I'm going to put the last name in, but I'm going to show you exactly how I did it quickly. Down here, we have something called templates. These are our merge codes. You just look for the ones. Last name, I put that in. Now, if I were to go in and change, and I'm going to do this just for, we're going to change that to say, make sure I spell her last name wrong or I'll never hear the end of that. Or right.
Right.
Wow. I'm going to make sure I spell her last name wrong just so I don't hear the end of it. Oh, right. This is different. So we go here. Okay, I'm missing something here and my brain just shut down. That's because this is my account. The display name is for something different. But
so let's try I don't know, maybe company name or so what's happening though is that when you're using those templates and it's pulling that information over, it's pulling that information, like the templates is getting it from this information page. So what you put in is what's going to come out. Now, also based on whose account it is, that name will automatically be in there as well.
Perfect. Yes. See, like I said, Heather is the expert on Top Producer X. So she's here to watch me make mistakes and then come back and fix it. So we'll go in here. I have put right here, I'm going to go templates down here again. It'll come up. Company name, and there it is. And we'll save it. Now let's go to company name again. Let's just turn this to TP Inc. Now, unless everything is going to conspire against me and I've really messed up my account, this should change that. So it just says TP Inc. And as you can see, my system is that messed up that it didn't update it. I need to get a brand new one so that this doesn't happen, don't I, Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah. So That's the fun stuff. Now, another couple of things that we do have that can go across multiple platforms. So email, you'll notice up here, you can have multiple email addresses in here from Gmail, from Google Apps, Office 365, Outlook, Exchange, Yahoo. And I don't know why we don't show this off as well, but you can also have your Apple email attached to this. So that's a pretty cool one there. You can go directly through your iCloud. That's not something we had before. We really in the past only had Gmail. So we're really glad to be able to offer this to everybody. Calendar sync here. Now I don't have it synchronized, but I will go to here. That's not the one I wanted. I wanted to test.
So calendar sync is great as if you're using your calendar on your cell phone. Some people don't use their calendar on their cell phone. If they don't, I don't think it's necessary. But if you do use your calendar on your phone, I know like myself, I do for all my appointments. So I know I know that I'm making my appointments on time. Then it's a great way to sync this up. So anything that you add to Top Producer X will go onto your phone calendar and vice versa.
Absolutely. So since I fortunately have only got the one calendar on this account, it just brings it up. I click on Start Sync. It will take a couple of minutes to reach out and happy day, it's running. So this is now going to go between Gmail and Top Producer, and it's going to make sure both calendars are synchronized and have the same information on both, so that, as Heather said, you're never going to run into an issue where you're not at the right appointment. This is one of those things, we use our calendars heavily here in the office because of the fact we do the onboarding, and we make sure that we don't overbook each other or set meetings with each other because of the time of what they've got to do. Now, the other cool thing is you can do the same with a contact sync. Now, I do have this set up. So the advantage of this, you can now have the email address that's attached to your cell phone set up with your contacts within Top Producer. So if you make a change on yourself, so you're sitting there and you talk to somebody and they're like, oh, I'm updating my phone number. So you go into your cell phone and change the contacts in your cell phone with the updated phone number. It's going to update on Top Producer X. If somebody calls into the office while you're there in front of Top Producer and say, hey, I need to update a couple of things on for you so you can keep in touch. My email is now this, and I have a backup phone number of this. And go ahead and update it in Top Producer X. It's now going to update on your phone. No having to do double duty. And before, this is one of those things that in the 8i days, we only really had on Gmail. We had a Top Producer connector to Outlook, but that was old Outlook. Being able to do it on every one is great. This again, Gmail, Outlook, and Yahoo. Or not Yahoo, Gmail, Outlook, and Apple. Why did I say Yahoo for Apple? That just makes no sense.
And if I can make a couple suggestions here for contact sync, this can be useful. Also, do keep in mind, you definitely want to import your contacts first before you sync them. So if you do have a CSV file that you want imported, do that first and then sync. Also, when it comes to syncing, one of my recommendations too is because unless you want all your personal contacts that you have saved on your phone on your Top Producer X, be sure what email you're using to sync. So maybe you have an email specifically just for work that you use just your real estate clients that you want to only have added to your Top Producer X. And that would be the email that you're going to use for your sync to bring over just your real estate contacts over and not all your personal contacts. Again, it's optional. If you want to bring all over your personal contacts, then that's up to you as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. One of the things we like to remind folks of, if you have an import and you're trying to import your contacts in, it is best to do that first, because I like to refer to it as a brute force insertion. Any imports are going to go directly into your Top Producer, and they're not going to be checked for duplicates, whereas our sync actually has a good duplicate check. So do the import first and then bring it in and do the contact sync. So it'll make sure both of them are lined up and able to see everything going both ways. This way, like I say, if you have it where you put it in through a contact sync first and then you import, The import assumes, and I really hate that word, but I'm going to use it. It assumes you want every contact put into your database. So it's just going to add, and maybe if you have 13 different people on there that are the same as already in your sync, you're going to end up with 13 duplicates. So really, really good idea. Always, if you're going to do an import of a CSV file, do it first. And do keep it around 25,000 contacts. It is best to try not to import more than that at one time because it does take a while to import the contacts. Now, one of the next very important things. You're getting leads from different providers or your own website. You want to make sure those leads come into your system without any muss or fuss. So you want to use this email address that you're going to find under lead providers. You just copy this with our handy copy button here, and then you give it to anybody, say Trulia, Zillow, Realtor.com. Any leads you get from them will automatically flow into Top Producer.
Yeah, so any leads that are coming from online. Also, if you have a personal website, you should be able to set that up as well. And Zillow, Realtor.com, Home iFinder. There's a list that we have, the lead providers we support. Not exactly sure how up to date that list is. So another thing too is if you are with a certain lead provider and it's not listed in here, the best thing to do is take that email address and test it. Add it to your lead provider website. There should be a test option. If not, I would even reach out to the people that you have your lead provider with, reach out to them and just let them know, like, I'm using this CRM and I would like my new leads coming in to go directly into my CRM. And they should be able to help you out with that as well.
Absolutely. We do have over 150 that we have. And a lot of the other ones that we haven't got listed there still work. But as Heather says, that list may not be exactly up to date because we're constantly adding new companies that we can go through.
And the great thing about that, and I'm kind of jumping ahead a little, it might be in next or Thursday's meeting, is that we do have an automated lead response rule. So the cool thing is it's about bringing your leads directly into your CRM. If you're busy, I mean, you might get a new lead come in and you can't reach out to them for hours. And maybe in that time, especially if they're really in the market, like they want to sell right now, they want to buy right now, they might not wait those few hours to hear back from you. So that's a really neat option, is that if you have those leads come in right away, we can have it set up so they're going to get an automated text, an automated email, an automated market snapshot. So technically you have been in contact with them without you being in contact with them. And at least it gives them a heads up, like, thanks so much for reaching out to me. And I'll reach out, or like, I'll be in touch with you soon to discuss these options and whatnot. So again, you're not leaving them hanging, waiting for hours.
Absolutely. It's a really cool feature. And it is something that we go over in another webinar. So that was Heather's way of saying, hey, we have another show on Thursday. You should come and hang out with us on Thursday as well.
We have free webinars every week. So this is awesome.
Absolutely. Something that is super important is going to make your lives easier is MLS credentials. So we have been able to link up with pretty much, I'm going to say, most of the MLS boards across the United States and Canada. So you can put it in, and you can now, after you've added your MLS credentials, you can pull information directly from your MLS into Top Producer. You're doing a new transaction. Why have to input it into the MLS and then input it into Top Producer? Input the info into the MLS, go in to create the transaction, and then you just pull in that credentials, or not credentials, the information from the MLS. You make updates on the MLS, you just pull it in again as well. This comes in very handy for a couple of things we have. Of course, our market snapshot, which it does pull information from the MLS to make sure that you get a up-to-date and new informational page sent to your client. I'm having trouble with my thought process again. It must be a Tuesday. So that'll help you out in a great deal. And then when you do have the market snapshot, you're going to want to make sure you make all your settings in here. So if you do an auto send market snapshot, that's helped out for items such as our lead response plans. You can have it go through all of these settings here as to how you want them. Plus, we also have daily listings and listing alerts. Now, these we go over in a different webinar as well. But also, if you ever see something and you see this icon here, just click on it and it'll take you to our Top Producer campus. That way you can learn everything you need to know about it right there. So,
Sorry, before we keep going, we have a question here from Listen as well. All email, calendar, contacts. Okay, so I guess they're waiting for updates and for syncs to be happening, and they're checking every 10 to 15 minutes for all email, calendar, and contacts.
Yeah, that was actually me answering it where I said 10 to 15 minutes.
So
yeah,
I think she's asking a question though there, Glenn,
yeah.
about
I was wondering how often,
how frequently.
Yeah, so every 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah, I had accidentally sent the message to you first and then I sent it to everyone. That's why it's in there twice for me answering. So
Gotcha.
my mistake on that. But yeah, listen, you asked how frequently do the updates occur for email, calendar, contacts. So it is every 10 to 15 minutes is the rough average. Now, that is something that can go on in the background. Even if you're not in Top Producer at the time, it will be doing it on the cloud. So everything will be taken care of. So sorry, Heather, I think I got my wires mixed there.
Nope,
and
that's
almost
okay.
thought you did.
We got it handled. Perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
So I hopefully that answers your question on that. It is pretty quick and does take care of things. One other thing, a couple other things real quick. Team management. If you have a team, this is where you can set permissions and everything. As you can see, I have 3 people on my team. I have an unused license, so I could add somebody. When you add an agent, you can get the chance to put in all their information here, first name and email address. You would set their initial username and password, and then you get to set their permissions and rights. So if you want a contact to only see, or not a contact, a agent to only see leads that are assigned to them, you would leave this top one, contacts and transactions, turned off. If I turn it on, they can see everything. I highly recommend delete or merge data stay off unless it's the office administrator or the main account holder. The reason for that is if you delete stuff, if something gets deleted in Top Producer, just assume it's gone. We do such a secure deletion that we try to make it so that nothing can be recovered. Now, we have in the past had success in recovery, but there is no guarantee. So keep this to your admins and the main user. And if you are creating and buying leads and sharing them with the team, and they're under a contract where they only get to use them while with you, don't allow them the option to export. So that's just a couple of things there on that one. And the final one, which is very cool for our American company or American customers only. I'm sorry to anybody in Canada or any other countries that have our software. We have texting. We have had it set up. I'm using a special testing number that was provided to me by the company, but you put in your test number. It will then create a secondary number for you, which you use for texting from within Top Producer. The best thing to tell your clients is this is just a secondary business number to allow me to communicate with you. If they're wondering how real this number is, tell them to call it. It will be redirected to your phone, and you'll get the call right away and be able to explain to them, hey, yep, this is my secondary business number.
Another cool thing about it is having everything in one place. So you have like your contact records, you have their information, you have their emails, you have their texts. So you don't have to look everywhere. You don't have to open up. That's the point of using a CRM, is to get yourself organized. So you're not using multiple programs and checking your phone and, oh, where did I get this information? You want to look one place. It's going to save you time and money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more we actually are trying to create a software you spend less time in here, because we know your main goal is to be working with your clients out there in the field, helping people buy and sell, because end of the day, that's what you're here to do. So if you do have any questions about your settings and you do run into any issues, as always, you can click on this button down here that is our chat. Again, mine, once I click on it, is kind of slow to come up because abused program. But just make sure you put in your first and last name, and I would recommend using the email address associated with your account, just so that we can get you the answers and have the account information right there to help you quickly. Hold times for chat are usually less than 1 minute. So give that a try if you ever have any questions. Now let's go over here. So I just went through number 2 without even realizing it. So there you go. You can see the email history, the calendar sync, MLS connectivity, texting, and getting a lot of all the settings all in one spot. I love it when I can jump ahead. It's like I'm thinking
It's not
ahead.
like if you just need to take a few minutes to set it up initially. I mean, depending on how, when you're first using Top Producer X, you're going to be putting that time in to get yourself set up the way you want to be. And depending on how organized you are prior to using this, when you bring your contacts over, it should be a good flow. However, if you're very disorganized, it might take a little bit more time, but eventually this works to get you cleaned up so you can use the system efficiently.
Yeah, and this is where you have the expert opinion on that, because out of the two of us, Heather is the really organized and I am the organized chaos is the best way to put it.
So I like things done. I'm one of those to-do list people. I've got my list to do. This weekend, I cleaned out all my bathroom cupboards and drawers, reorganized it all into nice little baskets, I guess you could say, because I like that clean look. I like to be able to go there and what I'm looking for is right there. That's just the way I am. So when it comes to the CRM and being organized, it obviously fits me because I like that organization.
Right. Whereas I'm the type where I think I have a desktop underneath all the stuff on my desk, but to make sure that I don't miss out on any special appointments or anything, having something like a CRM here to make sure I'm on track helps. Because yes, I know what's on my desk and I know there's a top there somewhere, but to the average eye, I would look at it and go, wow, what a slob. So that's one of those advantages, and it'll make your life easier. And realistically, it will make sure that nobody falls through the cracks. And that is the biggest thing that you don't ever want to have happen, which is a great segue into this, is it not, Heather?
Yes, the follow-up coach. So another way that I think you should really look at your CRM too is that, yes, you're going to have a database filled with hundreds, possibly thousands of contacts, but you want to think of it more as like I'm going to say a personal coach, but you want to be personal with your contacts or with your clients one-on-one versus, you know what, this is why I like the follow-up coach, is because I try to get my customers not to be sending out those mass emails of thousands of people. And I had a great example yesterday. One of those reasons is that they had sent out over 1,000 emails. Now they're locked out of their email. So the risk, but they said, hey, the one great thing is about this is that I've got some leads, but now I can't respond to them because I sent too many emails and I'm locked out on my email. But, you know, when I think of it, I said, so how many can you handle? Are you a one agent? Do you have like a big team working with you? Because if you send out thousands of emails, you don't know how many responses you're going to get back. What if you end up getting back 20, you send out, I don't know, 5,000 emails and you get 20 responses back? If you're a one agent, can you take on all those 20 customers at the same time? And now they've reached back to you and now you can't help them. So this is where I like this, is that you just do a little bit at a time. If they're in the market to buy or sell, they're going to come back to you. But this kind of gets you to know like where they stand, if they're active or not active. And it's still going to get you leads, but don't overwhelm yourself and them. That's my suggestion. What do you think, Glenn?
I think that's a great way. So let's go and do a little bit of an example of the follow-up.
Yes.
So I'm here in my top producer, and you'll notice along the top, we have all these different items. Now, a lot of the follow-up coach does pull from these. So you're going to see these tabs, and my account is set in the default. So the star is the ones you're going to say are your favorites. So that one will either have people in it or not. Mine is empty right now because I don't have anybody.
You don't have any favorite people.
No, which is a lie, but I just haven't done that yet because, again, every contact in my database on this account is a fake one. So I really don't know them. Over here, you have all of these, all of them. These are all my contacts, everybody, all 936. Now, yay, I'm keeping up to date and haven't left any of my new clients. And I get a reminder every 3 days in here by saying they're over, or every 5 days by saying they're overdue. But at the
But you
same,
should probably change. I feel like 5 days is a little long.
you think
So your new tab is only going to be for, this is how it should be, is that only when you have those leads coming in from online, because new means that you've had zero communication with them. Chances are, if you've already met them on the street, or you know them, or somebody reached out to you and they're not in your database yet, they say, hey, I'm interested in selling or buying, you're going to add them and you're automatically going to put them in engage or active because you've already communicated with them. So the new should only be for your contacts that come in from online with no communication. And so, like where Glenn said here, this should be empty or very few. And hopefully you're not leaving your new leads waiting 5 days to hear back from you, because chances are they're not going to be your new lead anymore. What do you think?
I think that brings up a really good thing. So I had just done 5 days as a test one day, but let's make sure that I'm not leaving them 5 days. What do you say? 2 maximum? Or should we even just go down to 1 day? If I haven't talked to them today, tomorrow I need to. Sound good?
Great.
Perfect. So this means now if I don't talk to anybody every day, so it's going to remind me every day to talk to my future. Now, as Heather said, engage is when you've actually spoken to these people. Now, I have all these people who I really obviously have not spoken to, and well, here's a couple that are well over, oh no, these are this year. Yay. I have some that aren't over a year. I have not gone a year without talking to people. At this point, most of these people have probably forgotten I exist. Fair assumption, but this is something you want to put them in engage when you're just reaching out and you're getting to know each other and you're determining if you're going to be working together. And then keep in mind, there's 2 types of working together with each other. In the future, these people, I mean, I spoke to them in 2021. Actually, that's when I actually uploaded the database. So I'm not that bad. Yes, I am.
You're 120 days overdue.
Oh, way more than 120 days overdue since, we're 2 years almost. But here's the thing, you would put them in the future because these are the clients you're going to want to come back to and see if in the future they're actually somebody you're going to work with. They may have requested some info from you, but at the same time, they might be sitting there going, well, I'm not ready now and I haven't even looked into financing or anything. So you put them in the future, and that way you can keep working with them until they all of a sudden say, yeah, I do want to sell. And that's when you go to active. These are the people that you are actively going to be working with. You're going to be going out and looking for that house they want to buy, or helping them find that buyer for their house as they're selling. And then at the end, the big old bag of money, which there's got to be a better icon we can do than that.
Hopefully all that work that you put in is worth that money that you received from helping them sell their home or buy their home.
Exactly. So you have these stats. Now, the reason I brought them up, and while we're talking about the follow-up coach, is because after a couple of days, you're going to start seeing people going into your follow-up coach. And you'll notice they're in the future status here. So this is kind of telling me I need to actually work on my future contacts. So you're going to all see this glaringly ugly button here that says skip. I am going to highly, highly, highly recommend you never press that button. Now, one thing that'll make it easier for you is you do have statuses aside from these ones here that we've mentioned. You do have a status of inactive and non-client. So if you have somebody that you know is not someone you're going to be talking to all the time or sending marketing materials out to, as in a fellow realtor or even your favorite lender or the handyman that you work with down the street, you can put them into those statuses and they won't show up here. The thing to keep in mind, new contacts are going to show up in here every 3 days. So if they're in the new, they're going to show up here after 3 days. If they are a sphere of influence, it's going to be 180 days, and a past client is 120 days. Anybody else is going to show up every 60 days. So this is a great way to make sure you're communicating with all of your contacts. Now, you'll see up here, I have 936 contacts. If I go through all 5 of these every day, just do a new 5 every day, and I only work 300 days of the year, which I'm pretty sure the average for a realtor is 360 days a year, but 300 is an easier number to do math with. So 3 times 5 over, or 300 times 5, you've communicated with 1,500 people in any way you can. And sometimes it's just updating the contact record. So let's see here, this one, I've got Alan Mathena. If I click on it here, it's going to suggest email or give them a quick call to generate some repeat and referral business. So we see they're a future. Let's just say we want to re-engage this client. So we're going to set them to that status, and we're going to mark this as done because we've done that. But I'm going to set up a follow-up phone call. Now, let's see, today's the 24th, so let's do it a week from now. So all of this can be done real quickly from within the contact. I've saved it. I've set up a follow-up task that'll come up for me in a week right here. And now in the period of 2-3 minutes, I have updated one of my contacts. It's that simple. If you do 5 per day, again, 1,500 to 1,800, depending on how many days you do this. If you do get through all 5 of them, now I'm going to do this. This is going to make Heather cringe, but I'm going to click on skip just so all 5 have been done.
Well, that was kind of pointless, though.
It is kind of pointless, but you know, I did it.
You skip them, you're not following up with them.
Exactly. This is why I haven't followed up with some of my people since 2021. I mean, I'm a horrible real estate agent. It's a good thing I'm a computer tech. So I wouldn't make it. So let's just say I've gone through. We're going to pretend I actually followed up with those 5. I have a little bit more time today. If I click on the button here that says refresh list, I have 5 new people to do. This way I can keep up with my my database, and let's say you do 10 a day.
It's a few minutes, really.
Yeah. And if you do, excuse me, if you do 10 a day, you're looking at 3,000 follow-ups per year. So this is something, if you wake up in the morning and having your morning coffee, you're checking your calendar, you're checking your tasks, grab the follow-up coach, take a look, and a lot of them, it's just going to be, hey, let's send a market snapshot to this one, or you'll remember, oh, this person has recently had a new addition to their family. So you can go in and update their contact record. This allows you to have that super important follow-up, which creates repeat business, which also creates referral business. So this is one of those ways that you can actually keep your name out there so that more people know to come to you, as you are the local expert.
And which referrals bring in leads as well. And that referrals are your free leads that come in, which are nice, right? So there's always a different way to look into it. But I definitely think, like, using this follow-up coach, it stays personal. If you're sending out thousands and thousands of emails a day, you don't know any of these people. So there's nothing, you have no connection with your contacts. And I feel like when you have more of a connection, you have a better experience, whether you're helping them buy or sell. And I know too, from having talked to friends, and they're like, oh, this is frustrating, getting shown properties that I have no interest in. And I've told them I'm not interested in this. So I don't know if maybe that agent was having an off day. Maybe they're working with too many people and they're all over the place. So this, using your CRM, keeps you focused, keeps you organized, and you're helping your contacts, because that's your job, right?
Exactly.
So we do have a question here.
Yep.
Maria was asking too about her new leads. She signed up yesterday, and when does leads start coming in? My account is through my company. Okay. That's the other ones.
So It depends on where you're getting your leads from, Maria. So if the company is actually the ones that are giving the leads and they have you set up, they will, a lot of times you'll have the initial administrator who will get the leads, check out the interest from the client, and then direct them down to your team members. So it would depend on how your specific company does it. If they do have it in a way that is sort of a round robin, what they would do is have the leads come in and then somebody will redirect it to you, unless the company is using, say, we have another program called 5 Street, which is a great lead distribution system. And if the leads are going into that system, it will actually send it to the specific agents based on criteria that we put in there. So it will depend on how your company does it. If you do have your own lead providers, if you give them that lead provider's email, like we mentioned before, then it will come in directly to your account. Okay, cool. I think we answered. Go ahead, Ed.
I was just going to say to show Maria as well that email there. So if your leads are coming in through your company, to make sure that you give them this email address. So when, as long as it is support, like that program that your company, the company you work for is using, as long as that is supported, then you can add this email, give that to them, and then when your leads come in, they'll directly go into your contact list. So also let us know too if you are receiving leads in other ways, like through your email address, but they're not coming into your Top Producer X, and that also if you've given your work this email address already. The ones here that's under, so when you go to settings, it's under lead providers, and that's the email address that you need to use to bring the leads in. So you'll still get the leads however you got them before. And then usually without this, you would have to go into Top Producer X and add all your leads manually. So with this email, what happens is that they just come over automatically. So you don't have to get them and put them in manually.
And one thing that is good to know, this email address is generated based on your account. So every account has a different @myleads.io email address. So your leads will only go to you. So that's a good way to do it. But yeah, definitely give your office a ring and ask them, and they will be the ones that will be able to give you the best information. The info Heather and I can give you is the best that we can tell you the top producer can do. So you're probably in good hands with your team. So, okay, this is a great question. Do I have to use this email address in Contact Sync?
No. You don't want to use this email address in Contact Sync. So what you're doing for Contact Sync is that so if you have, say, for example, you use a Gmail account and you have contacts listed under that Gmail account, what you're doing is syncing over the contacts you already have saved under Gmail. This email here in Lead Providers, this is only for you to bring in leads from online platforms to go directly into your CRM. So if you've signed up for Zillow or realestate.com or iHomeFinder, we have a whole list of them, different, so if you go to Google and you put in lead providers, those would be different platforms that you can use. That's the only time you use this email address is on their website. So when you get that new lead come in, it would just add to your contacts right away. That's the only time.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is no IMAP information or even settings for this email for you to set it up somewhere. And if you were to try to, I mean, that's a really good question. And I actually am surprised I've never had that one asked to me before. So I do appreciate you asking that, Maria. I think that trying to set this one up would be more dangerous for your sanity than actually having it there just as what it's for. So very good question. We get to have a little bit of fun with that one because the fact that it wouldn't pull over the contacts, and it's best to just use this as a incoming email address for leads only. Otherwise, you're opening up so many cans of worms that you don't want to have. So awesome. Great question. I really am honestly surprised I've never heard that one before. So thank you for thinking outside the box.
And also just remember too, contact sync is not mandatory, it's optional. So, I mean, some people don't want to sync over their contacts because they might have mixed in their personal contacts with their agents or with their your real estate clients. And you're like, yeah, I don't want to have all of them over. Again, it's up to you what works best. It does help though, if you're on the road and you add a contact really quickly into your phone, that it will sync over. But again, just make sure that you're using the right email you would use for contact sync. If you do, like, if you need help with the lead providers too, just definitely and you're unsure, exactly, Glenn, just reach out right down there to our chat, and we can give you more information on that. But
Yeah. We got you covered there, and our team is always happy to help you out. And I think the next slide is actually going to tell you a bit more about where you're going to find learning tools and community resources. How did I work that one out? Really well, right? So our main support site, we call it our campus. So topproducer.com/campus. On this, oh, hey, no problem. Listen, have a great day. And we are glad you were able to come by and hang out with us.
thank you, listen.
Yeah, and this will be up on YouTube later, so if you need to review, you can definitely come by and see it again. Have some chuckles with me and Heather again later in the day. Our webinar schedule and the recordings you can find on the campus's top menu bar. It does have a spot there that says webinars. And our quick video library is right on the home page. A couple of other great tools we have is our blog at topproducer.com/blog. Our YouTube page at youtube.com/topproducersoftware. And finally, our fun Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/topproducersoftware. And as always, ask our customer team via live chat or email for any help you need. And awesome, there's some more links for you right there in the chat. If you want to make a copy of them, you can see them. Let me see what's left here. So oops, let me go back one. So we want to thank you for your time. Hey, we got it under an hour today, Heather.
We did well.
Yes, thank you for everyone who stuck around. I'm glad you're able to stick around for the hour. Again, if you ever need any help, go to our live chat at the bottom right of your Top Producer CRM or any Top Producer programs we have, plus including our campus. And we also have our email at support@topproducer.com. We're happy to hear from you and happy to help.
Thank you very much. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming out today. Again, if you have any other questions, come and see us. And we do have another video on Thursday for 4 things to do after you've got set up. So that might be a good one to check out. So everybody, have a great day. Thanks for sticking around and bye for now.
Bye.